It's not about spaceships.
Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. It's my sketchy friend Rob. This is my blue friend who's not blue, Jesse from Thronkill, Mr. Thronkill, the Thron Talk podcast. And
it's like Bill O'Reilly. Thrawn kills, and then his next one's Vader kills, and then his next one's Padme kills, and then his Kidster kills, and then, it's a theme.
Stop. Yeah, it's
can't stop killing.
Fett falafels.
We call him kills the coke. Yeah.
Librarian.
Yeah. So so we are in an interesting day in the sense that there is that strike's probably going to happen that we've been talking about for the last week or so here and there. And the Thrawn Gills Network, says Dale. And yeah, there was an interesting scoop from Star Wars Time that we'll talk about in a little bit. And I went down to the set area today to do what I do and talk to some friends, see what was going on. And not a lot of, super like deep stuff to report, nothing that's like going to change the world here. But the Star Wars Time scoop is fascinating, but also what's going on there is also fascinating in context of that stuff. And I got this article. I think this one was from The Guardian. I think that the next page I made sure to show where it was sourced. But one of the big things that the union workers are striking over was 14 and 16-hour days working through meal breaks. Workers are leaving sets late Friday nights into early Saturday morning. And they say that the grueling schedules have led to car accidents. So when you are overworked, underfed, maybe you're just trying to find that bathroom during a pandemic and you're like, who knows? But it's not good. It's not safe. And it's ultimately messed up, and that's where we find ourselves today is these workers are very unhappy. Things are not going well. And studios will go quiet around the U.S. 60,000 members will go on strike 12:01 this Monday if a deal is not reached with employers. It would be the first national strike by the IATSE in its 128 years when it was formed. And members of the union include cinematographers, camera operators, set designers, carpenters, hair and makeup artists, animators. That's an interesting one right there, and many others. What isn't on this list, and this list is by no means comprehensive, but are editors. And one thing to note about these Star Wars productions, especially the ones that use the volume, is that the visual effects are usually done well before the actual filming takes place because of the way that they use the volume and just because so much can be done without having to have filmed a thing. So that puts Mandalorian probably into a very interesting place, especially for us people who follow Star Wars daily and weekly, is that they could be very far into the visual effects, but at the same time, what does that mean for Kenobi? What does that mean for Cassian? Cassian, for instance, did not use the volume in the same way that they're using it on these other productions. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It was more of a straight up live action film production in essence. So does that mean Cassian's going to be further delayed? And so it's a really complicated situation that I think Star Wars is in, and I think I'm going to guess. I mean, just throwing it out there, but we could just look to the whole port situation that I'm sure Jesse knows a ton about how when you have all of these little things log jamming over time, it's gotta fuck shit up.
I saw some TikToks where they're showing, I think, along the Long Beach port area there, where the containers are just, it looks like a sea of containers out there. But see, the what makes it worse is they've pushed for for safer environments, working environments. So now that is involving a lot of computer driven. They actually have like drone trucks that carry the containers to the truckers, but then there's not enough truckers out there to actually receive the containers and take them to where they need to go.
Right. And that's going to mess up Christmas. Ha!
Very possibly, yeah.
Democrats are
Santa.
canceling
And
Christmas.
whatever Biden has been doing recently, it has caused the price of coal to skyrocket. And so where we were doing maybe coal a couple of times a month, but we now have like coal trains like every other
Ha!
day.
Take that, Santa! You got no coal to put in my stockings.
No, what am I gonna give Eric Trump?
Oh no!
But I'll set some aside for him when he come by.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like ILM, whoever they farm visual effects out to, the contractors, all of that stuff I think something is going to likely get delayed to some extent. Hopefully we don't even know about it. Hopefully Mando's able just to figure everything out and still come out on time. And something like Cassian, that's like already done. We don't have like a firm release date for. Maybe it ends up just being off a little bit in the end, and we never even knew that we got it 3 months later. Like it could go that way, right? I mean, it's possible.
And who thought that Atlanta would be a major production hub for the industry as well?
Yeah. It's this, and this right here is this union, I believe, is international. So it's not super easy for them just to like jump over to like the UK, for instance, or start using people in Canada. Like if it was just like just in the United States, just
so it's going to affect Willow too.
I would have to imagine. Yeah, this isn't good for, and every show pretty much on most of these networks, or what people who are in this union. The union is called International. I haven't seen any signs that it actually is like I don't know if there are members in Asia or not, but there's 60,000 and what the country's listed.
There is. If it says it is, because like ours is International Longshore Workers.
Right. But I'm talking about in terms of like film production though, and stuff like that. Like this, are there people, for instance, in China? Chinese animators who are a part of this, or are they completely like an isolated bunch who, I don't know.
Definitely not the animators.
Yeah.
That's
that's true. Yeah, they do use a lot of Chinese animators. So yeah, and I mean, but also this could go. I mean, and they say animators. I don't know to what extent it goes into like the actual straight up cartoons.
And what
does that mean? Bad Batch season 2? Does that get halted as well? Does that go?
Animators in Australia too, right? That they use.
CG
animation
is Asian.
Animators fall into anything animated. It doesn't mean like DuckTales. It means like the CGI monster in your movie. You know what I mean? Special effects, visual, anything that has to do with that. And so that could just mean, hey, all you ILM guys thinking you're gonna be able to work through on the visual effects while we're out. Nope. Could be. So
yeah, and that's that's what I'm like. I don't know like what the overlap is when you have a company like Lucasfilm, though, who is making Bad Batch, for instance, and then some stuff is done here and then goes sent over. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's confusing, and I'm curious to like learn more about what is affected and what is not affected. But we will see. Hopefully somebody can actually tell me and educate me on this stuff better than I already am. This right here is a very bad photo that I took yesterday. I didn't include it in the stuff yesterday, but it's this like light thing that they have to like, make shade and stuff like that on the set that I took from a very far distance. I just thought it looked kind of funny. And so I just took the picture. Didn't mean to share it, but that has been moved today for what it's worth. And this stuff has been put out there now. Like these giant, huge lights. I don't know if they filmed in the middle of the night last night by some chance, or if this is just daytime lights, which all the shade that they're creating with these trees and these close quarter sets. But this stuff has been all changed since yesterday. And as we're gonna get so that one won't run. Wait, was there anything more, or is that one just won't load?
Your file could not be accessed.
Yeah, that's weird. All right, whatever. So yeah, but basically I had photos showing, hey, they are doing things. And what I also, which is not an interesting photo that didn't load, was like the craft services stuff was all rearranged, tents for getting costumes on and off and stuff like that. All of that stuff has been there's been more set up than yesterday. So maybe a bunch of work got done after I left yesterday, and that's what I'm seeing. But
hey, wait till you leave now. Okay, back to work.
No, just I just can't be there the whole work day. But that would be hilarious.
The red light flashing. When the red light flashing, the wards is around.
They did set up a little Jason Ward camera. It's like a little black webcam that is on the very top of the fence. So I was seeing them.
I heard Wart, and the video game geek in me was like, Mario 2? Did they take a picture of the Mario 2 villain and put Jason's face on? King Ward's back! Show the ship!
It's me, Wardio.
You should go down there with a cape and a scepter, and be like, I'm here, paparazzi.
So always look on the LIG says, can Disney use Pinewood Studios instead? And no, because this is it's an international union. And on top of that, for instance, like when they filmed Cassian over there, and then the footage all comes back to the United States probably to be edited here and at Lucasfilm, and the visual effects are usually done by ILM, and ILM is in England and the United States and I think Canada, and once again, definitely that's going to be part of that guild, I would imagine, or union, I should say. And so I don't
Guild.
The Lollipop Guild, the EverQuest Guild. My guild was the Handsome Pirates. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, people hated us. They're like, you guys sound gay. So I got a pink shirt, and I was like, no.
What are you talking about?
I'm just a handsome pirate. I'm just a handsome pirate.
EverQuest, and they're clowning your sexuality.
Yeah. It's like we're playing EverQuest. We have no sexuality. It's off the table.
We were the original no-brainer. Don't go there. Don't go there. That's not the same thing. Yeah. I know it'd be like me clowning guys who dress up like Batman while I'm playing City of Heroes, like just wearing a bunch of tights and underwears on the outside of your. Hold on, I gotta attack Mr. Mythical Plix. Like I could just so weird, man.
Trey Stevens says nobody does it better than Roger Moore. 007. Why did he have to be so good? I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna kiss your ass, Trey. I agree with you. I think that was the most fun James Bond outside of Connery. In fact, if they were to make a James Bond video game, I'd rather play a Roger Moore based video game than any of the others at any time, because it would be the most. Yeah, I'd octopussy the hell out of an Xbox One game. I'm just saying.
So I used to get him confused with Adam West when I was a kid. I thought they were the same dude. I don't know why. I didn't really look at people when I was a kid. Like I'd kind of look near them. So close enough. And so when I finally saw Cannonball Run, was it 1 or 2, one of those, and Roger Moore's playing, like he's James Bond, but he's Roger Moore, but he's also James Bond. Yeah. As I was like, and then I realized it's my, I knew by that point. I was like, I really wish I'd get Adam West and Roger Moore in here. Like why Cannonball Run never got Adam West and Burt Ward to go up against James Bond, right? Like that. Yeah, it's the biggest missed opportunity in cinema.
Well, like as a kid, I had a very huge realization around age 7, I want to say, that Indiana Jones and Han Solo were the same man, or the same actor. I mean, it's completely obvious, but as a kid, you just, the costume. Yeah, costumes and character, they go a long way.
Well, I told you, Christopher Reeve taught me that one because he was Superman, but then he was in that movie like Somewhere in Time.
Yeah.
And I was like, just turn into Superman. Just why is he dying? Like,
what's the problem?
Just pull the thing open. Like,
Well, I also thought Billy D. Williams and Ray Parker Jr. were the same person. I was like, Billy D. Williams is Lando and does the Ghostbusters song. This is a real renaissance man.
And
that was essentially. Damn. I mean, can you imagine how cool it would have been though if Lando Calrissian was so talented that he also did the Ghostbusters song? Like that was.
If Ray Parker Jr. was a better fucking DJ, he could have sampled Ray Parker, Billy D. Williams doing things like Colt 45 and Ghost and got on.
Who loves you, baby?
It's like Ray Parker did his own knockoff Thriller, like Ray Parker's Thriller, you know, like Chiller, but it's with Billy D. Williams samples.
Allison says, "Sorry, Jason, but you are wrong about Roger Moore." Hey, listen, after what I just told you, I'm gonna think that Roger Moore is also the singer of The Who, right? Same guy, right? No, not at all. Okay. Lucas Hall. This is all Indiana Jones and Han Solo are the same guy.
Oh, we just spoiled it.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Missed opportunity for Leia to like draw a hat on top of Solo's head and go, wait a minute.
Right. So
familiar.
Yeah, so I invited Matt on the show today to see if he wanted to talk about this this article that they have. And in his exclusive, I'm going to see if I could zoom in on this a little bit for the screen here, make it size a little bit better. So exclusive, this is for StarWarsTime.net. The Mandalorian Season 3 production will be shutting down due to impending IATSE strike. So according to our source, who has spoken to insiders at Lucasfilm, the planned strike from the union is inevitable. The production will be wrapping across Lucasfilm Studios as early as tomorrow, October 14th. If you've been paying attention to current productions taking place at Lucasfilm, that means the Mandalorian Season 3 shoot will be affected. Our sources said Lucasfilm is planning on at least a 90-day shutdown due to the strike, which affects 60,000 film and TV workers across the country. We were told that the only thing that would prevent this work stoppage would be akin to an 11th hour type of miracle. So while we trust our source, there is a sliver of hope that a deal can be struck before Lucasfilm has to shut down its productions as soon as noon on the 14th of October. So that's yesterday. So basically, yeah, when I was down there today, they definitely weren't filming. But stuff was being moved around. Things were being set up. Maybe things were just being put away for all I know. I find the 90-day shutdown number to be interesting. My guess is the 90-day window is what they are anticipating as maybe a likely scenario. And so maybe everything is being reconfigured because they're going to have to reschedule everything. All of their work is going to have to be reconfigured with different timetables of when the projects are to be due, when shots are supposed to be turned in. And if this strike affects that, so I'm guessing that right now they're going to reconfigure everything on a 90-day timeline.
So
and then
if that photo with Pablo or whatever is in Pedro was in the helmet the other day from the set.
I think I don't even think that was from now.
No,
he's okay. no. I haven't asked, but I am 99.9% sure he's filming the Last of Us at this moment right now.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I think they just took a screenshot from a past Mandalorian documentary and
popped
it up there as like, hey, they're doing it, and here's just a photo to illustrate what that looks like, never saying this is from last season or something like that. Yeah, because there could be costume changes and stuff like that as well that would be going on. Who knows if they film them in order.
I just thought that with this thing looming, they kind of figured it was looming, and maybe they were trying to get as much of him as they could at the time. So
yeah, no, I don't think he's going to be filming on it at this moment. And there's even been like rumors that people in the industry have told me that I don't know if I buy it, for the record, that Favreau was a bit annoyed with Pedro Pascal having to film The Last of Us and them having done all this work to get rid of the helmet, and now they have to put the helmet on him. But and I could see how
Such
that
a
could
dumb
be
thing, man. Though,
but remember, this is a rumor. This may not be real, so I don't want to put it on him if it's not accurate.
But I know, but hold on. First off, like he's never seen a Boba Fett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Darth Vader. You know, like I just don't understand how any actor goes, I'll sign up for Star Wars, but wait, I'm the Boba Fett and I can't use my face? Oh no. Yeah. I just think after Iron Man, right? Like we should be past all this by now. Like, you know, like these kind of rumors, because it just sounds like that old stuff where it's like, well, I gotta see gotta see the actor's face, because, you know.
Yeah, well, it's definitely going around is my only point about it. But where I don't buy it, or where I have the issue with it, is it's not anyone's fault that a global pandemic popped out and schedules got log jammed and things got shifted around, and a season of The Mandalorian that was already supposed to have been filmed before, what hasn't been or wasn't. Right. I mean, and I just think that Favreau is more reasonable than that, which makes me think that maybe there's like a little bit of like, great, oh man,
here we go again,
and it's being taken as, oh man, and it's being retold as,
thanks Obama.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So
thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Oh no.
When pressed on if the shutdown would affect shows in post-production like Obi-Wan, Kenobi, and Andor, our source was unsure if editors fall under the union. One would assume that certain post-production departments like VFX could be affected, but we can't confirm if shows in post will be shuttered as well.
Well, I can speak to this a little bit. Kevin Smith talked about that. I told you like 2 episodes ago on Fat Man on Batman.
Yeah.
The guy that owns Scum and Villainy is his editor.
Mm-hmm.
So they were talking about this, and he's like, oh no, we have to stop editing the film. He's like, well, I think I got my edit in. I'm like, then we're good, but then the sound guys can't. So like, he definitely was like, they couldn't edit, and then the sound guys couldn't do anything. So
yeah.
Foley or whatever. Additional.
Axel Foley?
Yes. That's where some white, they just get a white guy. Look, in a perfect world, what's his face from Police Academy would get hired to do all the sound effects for movies.
Michael Winslow.
Right?
Michael Winslow.
Michael Winslow would just come in there and be.
Whoa, I never thought about it.
I lost the bleeps.
Is Carl Winslow inspired by Michael Winslow in a weird way? Anyways, yeah, so maybe we'll go back to the olden times, and I could remember how to read sheet music, and I'll just sit there with Winslow, and I'll play the piano live while Mandalorian season 3 plays, and Winslow will be like wah, 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 with his mouth and that kind of stuff.
Does he go in 4/4 or 3/4?
Oh, he's talented, dude. He'll do some 8/12s if you need him.
2/3 time.
From now. So he's all, for now, it's safe to say that Mandalorian season 3, unless a Hollywood-esque miracle plays out, will be shut down only a few weeks after filming began. If the strike goes for 90 days or more, then there will be potential for release delays across the board. But that is just speculation on our part and nothing that was relayed to us. I like that they make that designation. One can only hope the 11th hour miracle occurs at this point, as it seems like the only option to avoid production delays. Nick and I will talk more about this report on next week's episode of SWTS, so don't forget to tune into the Star Wars Time show on a weekly basis by our podcast platforms or on YouTube. So yeah, so go ahead and check their show out and what they have to say about it, because that's a really good question, because Kidster, there is no union for Kidsters across America. So the good news is the Kidster live show is still on. There just won't be sets, but it's fine, because all he had was a giant strobe light, a chair, and a glass of water. That's all he needs.
Not on the Disney Plus Kidster Live. No, and that would be their talk show. Kidster live from Mos Espa. He just brings it. So you like murdering people? How's the slave trade going? No.
Lucasfilm is, with a heavy heart, must report that Kidster on Ice has to be shelved at the moment because
sand. Doesn't that sand get everywhere? Aren't you afraid of?
Because of Wampa attacks.
Do you guys ever
Kidster on
see
Ice is on Hoth. Like,
do you guys ever see the old commercial for the Kenner Wampa? There's this kid and he just says Wampa as if the monster says Wampa. So it's going Wampa over and over.
I tried once. They were afraid of copyright or whatever, legal issues. But on Crash 4, I tried to do a Wampa monster on ice, but it was going to be the Wampa monster, and it would look just like a Wampa, but, like he hangs all the Wampa upside down and shit in the ice cave. But they were like, no. I was like, we can freeze him. And like, no. I'm like, all right, I tried.
Yeah. So
everything's a pun.
Always Look On says, so this is like a 24 redemption scenario. It's happened before. That was the writers. Yeah, I mean, in essence, it's just like basically any strike ever, whether it's longshoremen or whatever. It's people who have had unfair working conditions and they have no interest in changing what works in their favor. And they finally have had enough of it, and they're going to strike. And it sucks for our entertainment, but their lives and their day-to-day moment of existence is way more important than our entertainment. That's the way I look at it.
Kellogg's is on strike right now, right? The Kellogg.
Oh no, Tony.
Oh,
right.
Tony's
they're fucking even crazier than this. Like, it's even worse, right? It's like up there with that Nestle shit. And so I've been, since the whole fascist takeover our country, I've been like iffy on bikers, right? I'm like, I pretty much think I grew up around bikers. Yeah,
Sturgis.
They're all kind of right wingers.
I went to Sturgis.
But labor unions, despite what the political machine wants to make you think, is not a political issue. There are labor unions and people who work on the right and the left work in them, and they're quite happy to have their jobs. Yeah. So these bikers actually went and blocked the scabs from going into work.
Good.
And I was like, there you go. There's a productive use of your fucking efforts. Wear a mask.
We have a biker gang that even has a store here.
Yeah.
In our town.
Yeah, no, I grew up in a lower class white background, and I have known my fair share of bikers throughout my life. And there are some pretty rad ones, and there are some very dumb ones, just like everyone else.
My experience was the Sons of Anarchy type bikers. Like, those were basically half my town was those. And so I was like, all right, some of them were cool and they owned the video shop, had all the games, and others were complaining about the Jews.
Yeah.
we just didn't make friends with those guys.
Yeah. No, my mom is a fan of the biker men, and I have come close to having a couple of bikers as stepdads in the past. And
what was that biker in the Clone Wars cartoon that Obi-Wan fought with the lance? Remember, there was like
Durge.
a swoop biker.
He was just in the comic today. I read that motherfucker's back.
That's why I remembered it, because I remember getting that issue. I'm like, no, Clone Wars. Had enough of you.
Yeah.
I put it down.
If anybody's wondering if how Durge has been doing the last 20 years, if he's doing any better, got any cooler, nah, Durge still fucking sucks.
Oh,
Durge.
I remember when I heard his name was Durge, I'm like the soda? My friend's like, it's Surge. I'm like, it's like the soda.
It's like the soda.
like soda.
And I can just see Filoni going, hey.
The only thing I know about Surge was the fact that I got that one Phantom Menace drink that Qui-Gon on the can. That's it.
A fruit punch, Star Wars punch.
No, it was like Mountain Dew with somebody pissed in it. Ugh, that's what it tasted like.
That's Mountain Dew.
Oh no, it was Mountain Dew if someone pissed in it. It was just Mountain Dew with more piss, essentially.
That's Mountain Dew.
Mix Mountain Dew and a Hawaiian punch.
How was that?
In a big gulp cup. It was very fattening.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sugar overload for sure.
I think Sarah Silverman is always hot. She still sounds pretty hot in 2001 for a Jew. What is that?
I didn't say the last part. I wasn't
Guys, I
reading the
did
last
not
part of that.
open the door to anti-Semitism. All right, like, I was stating what the bikers said. I don't.
Yeah.
I got to be very clear on
And
this.
yeah, he was just saying, he was only saying it's what the bikers say and that they control our media and all our money. So
And I totally don't have a closet. No, like
I was on the bench, girl.
just, he was just
By the way,
saying.
just to show you that those motherfuckers so want to be movie stars.
Mhm.
Asshole had a cowboy hat and was singing country songs the other day. You should go watch that. I have eliminated these names from Twitter, but every now and then one sticks through because a buddy of mine likes to tag it like Garth Crooks or some shit like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is fucking? They just have like entertainment envy or something. But he's got the big Filoni gallon hat and the big microphone, like the side 90s style. And he doesn't fit in it. He's like Dennis Lawson if he wore normal size clothes. It just falls out.
Yeah.
Chris
Everything.
Gaines.
So Trey also
like
says
Chris Gaines.
the next Disney Star Wars movie, I'll wait to buy it secondhand and cheap. Hey, if you have the patience, by all means.
Each their own.
Yeah, but we're gonna be talking about it for like a few years, so hang out with us.
Trey, I don't know if you're aware of this. They're making quite a few of these things.
Prepare to be disappointed.
It's like taking a firm stance on Marvel. Like, you know what? The next one, guys, it's 4 of them a fucking year. Like, whether there's a pandy or not. Like,
We're in phase 10. I hate this.
I'm totally not watching it, but episode 4 was like my favorite. Like,
Star Wars in game says, isn't this just a slave revolt? I wouldn't go that far, as in that they had the agency. They could leave the industry for another one. They have all of those freedoms and stuff like that. But yeah, I do.
Arbitration, I think, is more like it.
Yeah, I do hope that we see. I classically, if you're in a labor union, over the course of your career, you will make around 30 to 35% more money than not. And so throughout your lifetime. So it is well worth it in the big picture, even though it's like having hemorrhoids at times. But you get
Best part about it for us is, and what drives a lot of the guys that I work with, is the best benefits package that you could possibly get for the money.
Yeah. Collectivism works. My ex-girlfriend in high school, my sweetheart, whatever, the love of my life in high school, my Peg Bundy.
Jew by any chance?
Her family was ultra conservative. They're right out. They sold Amway. They did homeschooling until they could no longer teach. They're like, their kids will never graduate high school if we don't put them in a real school. They had a cell phone business because they didn't believe in the corporations. But eventually they needed healthcare and a bunch of other shit. They got older and they're like, oh, so they got into the union that builds, was it the Freeman that builds all the convention center stuff? Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're like, hey, unions work. I'm like, no shit. Stop voting for
right.
Bob Dole. God damn it. Like, look, I'm not a fan of the corporate Democrats. Don't go out there and think I'm a fucking Hillary stumper, but like fucking, there's a reason why unions started 100 years ago and they fucking worked.
Yep.
Like what fight do we have against the empire if not together? What? Some Saul Goodman gonna come out the woodworks and represent us by himself, take all the fucking money, and you get like 5 cents on the return.
Would have happened.
It's ridiculous.
Star Wars: A Game says, Trey, not much is creepier than someone reflecting on how women looked 20 years ago with a bigot sneer on their face.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, because Sarah Silverman is still hot. I'm sorry, she just is. Durge and Clone Wars 2003 was my earliest memory of Star Wars. I will not take Durge slander. I have to say,
Durge slander.
Durge slander.
That is like Dash Blendar.
Did you know that's his last name?
Blendar?
It's total coincidence. No, slander. Durge's last name is. They just didn't bring it up, but yeah.
Hello, I am Durge S. Slander, and I played Durge in the 2003 production of The Clone Wars. I honestly have a hunch, and it's a feeling that Durge is the reason that Genndy didn't get to continue doing Star Wars. I think if he had contributed a main new character that had connected, what do you mean?
But the second season they put Grievous in the
cartoon. He didn't create Grievous. He got to use Grievous.
Oh, so it's the creation.
Durge was the original contribution that Genndy made to Clone Wars canon, if you will. And it's and I've heard that George Lucas thought that it was not good. He was not a fan of the concept and really didn't care about it when everything was getting going, because it was just a commercial on the Clone Wars that they were putting together for their Star Wars movie. And then as he got more into the concept and got more serious about it,
I just always felt Lucas wasn't into 2D animation. Like I just felt at the end of the day, he thinks 2D looks like a cartoon. He wants it to look more, in some ways, have parity with the films, even if they're stylized. Sorry. I got a little wards in my throat.
Yeah. So, makes sense.
So yeah, I just think like, Lucas is like, hey, nifty idea, but I'll do it now and we'll do it in 3D. Like I always felt like that's kind of like, and for all I know, man, Genndy's like, hey man, it's my show. And he may have pulled the I'm a George Lucas of animation card on him.
Maybe.
Not a good move.
Never know.
It's possible. I mean, there's got to be a reason that Sony canceled the Popeye movie for some dumb reason. Like,
because of the success of Titanic? Titanic was a very, very big movie that Trey is a big fan of.
Man, go watch that Popeye short that Genndy and them put out. It's fucking amazing. Like, it really is. It's just some of the coolest fucking anime. It's what you see now in like Mitchell versus the Machines, right? Like that kind of like.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about right now. Mitchell and the Machines. I have no idea.
Because they changed the fucking name, and I don't remember. No, is Mitchell and the Machines the name they changed it to?
Okay.
You never saw Mitchell and the Machines?
No, I never heard of it.
The Family versus the Machines, the robots, CGI film. Never saw it?
No,
guys. God.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Fantastic film.
I was into Titanic though when that came out.
I hated that movie.
You're like, I've seen Boss Baby 4.
Me and Randy went to see Titanic and got very bored in the middle of the movie, and we started asking what happened to the monkey. And there were some people who were next to us who were like were very annoyed because there was no monkey. So we kept doubling down about why did they introduce a monkey in the first act and where's the monkey? And there were kids who had seen it like 10 times already, so I don't feel bad about this. Yeah, and
my friends dragged me to a screening of Prince of Egypt, right? Mm-hmm. Which I can appreciate from the animation and the score. Mm-hmm. Not my story, but at the end I go, "When's he get the fucking boat?" And my religious friends were like, "Oh."
But watch Titanic and imagine that it's just a chimp making all these problems and sinks the boat at the end. And it's much better because it's got boobs, it's got monkeys, it's got disaster. It has everything I need in a movie.
Guns.
And
that's monkey name was Paparazzi, and that's what started the whole slander.
It's a me, a paparazzi. Luke Winchester says,
a hairy guy.
We don't quite have the same issue with unions here in the UK. So this conversation is just reminding me of the episode of the US Office where they attempt to unionize. But I do think that this union is the same as it does carry over to the UK. It's an international one. So are there different unions? Like, once again, I don't want to overstep, but it is I think that if this is going to affect productions on both places, but at the same time, I don't know, because I haven't heard anything about Indiana Jones stopping tomorrow.
Everything I've ever learned about British politics has come from Downton Abbey, so certainly it has to be correct, right?
Yeah. Well, I will say, like to go back to his point, I loved how the British office had Ricky Gervais, just how he kept showing up to work and was really buying into the idea that they were a family and all of that, because the U.S. office started down that route, and I loved it because it made a very valid point. This isn't your fucking family. This is business. These people are going to act like they're your family, but it's business. And
my favorite scene in The Office is that bit when Kevin walks in and spills the chili all over the floor.
Yeah,
we're gonna find each other in the pot, and he's just swirling around it because I'm like, that's exactly the bullshit we're dealing with. It's just the opening of the show. It's I can watch that on a loop forever. But that's also the same time when the show turned more into just a sitcom, right? Like a witty sitcom than anything that of kind of like cultural significance in terms of like, you don't waste your fucking lives selling fucking paper in this monotonous fucking room for a corporation that doesn't love you, you know?
So something tells me that Trey has some pictures of Meredith from about 25 years ago. And I bet you she was pretty rocking when she was just banging everybody and being gross. My kind of woman.
Is that the redhead?
Yeah, just old. She's old in the show, but when she was young, I take a spin off about Meredith.
She was here at the con that they had.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
she's a strong progressive. She's on TYT half the time. So.
And she's tiny. She's tiny.
The show missed the point though when it dropped the Scranton Strangler storyline. Like,
yeah,
whether that was Michael Scott or Toby, it would have been great if it was Michael Scott. Like if he was actually, you know, like that's
the Strangler.
Yeah, this guy who loved everyone so much was actually murdering people too. Like,
I'm sorry. I'm getting a message on my earpiece right now. We have a new take on Star Wars that we've never heard before. What's that? Trey Stevens is reporting that George Lucas cheapened Star Wars with replacing the originals with the special editions. Everybody, oh my God, the humanity. Sorry, dude. Go on. Sorry, I couldn't help it. I'm just liking Trey's attempts at trolling. It's just so dumb.
Arsha!
He's so hot in the 70s.
He's taking it to Dracula AD 1972 was the best movie ever.
Frank Langella was the best, you know.
Danny McBride is in Mitchell versus the Machines. I love that dude.
Bro, that's a fantastic film, man. Put it on with the kids. I don't, maybe because it went to Netflix and it didn't get the marketing during the pandy is what it was.
Okay. Yeah, if it came out in the last year,
actually maybe I've seen it. I don't know.
I was playing Fortnite, probably not watching anything.
Watched it.
It's super good, man.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Stephanie
Beacham. Was that the girl you went to school with or something?
Allison.
Look, don't Meg the show, Trey.
Heart or something, all right?
Don't do that.
Allison says, I trolled a lady sitting next to me when I saw Titanic. I was talking about how the history of the boat with my boyfriend when she looked at me sternly and said, I better not spoil this movie.
Half the people don't make it.
Better not.
The only guy who saw it 7 times and loved it seriously. I guess I'm the only dude.
But you saw it 7 times in the theater?
Yeah, I'm fascinated with that time period. I believe that if past lives are real, that I died in World War One. Like I have vivid memories of this when I was a kid. Like before I ever saw World War One, like being filled with bullets and all that stuff. I'd have nightmares about this, like up until about age of 5 or 6, around there.
My memory of World War One is having a hot dog and trying to put mustard gas on it. And boy, did I learn a big lesson about mustard.
It's mustard gas. Way more dangerous than CS pellets, but the initial effect of it, not that much different, right? Like the initial feeling. And so when in the military, when I got injured, they put me in nuclear biological chemical, and NBC is what they call it. And I kept doing that, NBC, right? Because I'm a fucking dick.
NBC.
And I love private parts. But these guys would turn in their pro masks to clear out. They always turn in their pro mask is your gas mask, called your pro mask, and protective mask. And they wouldn't clean it out properly, so I'd be going through it, checking the seals, and just fucking would scarecrow myself fucking at least 3 times a day, you know? Just like, oh. Then we started taking shots. Like whoever got it first also had to take a shot while they were raining tears.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Your tax dollars at work, folks.
My drummer, when he was in high school, went to date a really cute girl whose dad was a cop and he didn't know, and the dad takes him aside and just starts putting bear mace under his eyes.
Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah,
because Because cops aren't homicidal maniacs. They're all good people.
No, and that was like the best part is it was like he's already done this to you, and like it kind of makes you want to just go fuck his daughter to teach him a lesson, like because what else can you do to him at that point? And it wasn't like touch my daughter, and this is
you have never seen Buffalo Soldier?
I haven't seen it.
So it's with
I've had buffalo wings.
It's not my experience in the military, but they shot it in Germany in the time period in which I was in Germany. And it is that what do soldiers do when there's no war, which will never happen again. But it's Joaquin Phoenix, Anna Paquin, and Ed Harris. Mm-hmm. And it is this entire thing where Ed Harris is the commanding.
Now base. you bring up Anna Paquin. Trey's already gone. We don't know if she was hot or not 20 years ago.
2 movies with Joaquin Phoenix being in Germany on a military base because he was Johnny Cash too.
Oh yeah. Was Johnny Cash in the army? I forgot about that.
I just keep doing these drugs. I can't stop.
He was in the Air
I
Force
was stationed at the Elvis Presley barracks for whatever that's worth. It's gone now. Anyway,
my hot take is Elvis sucks. That's my hot take.
He does. But
more conversation, a little more action, please.
He tried to stop the Beatles.
All I can tell you is the buildings were small. People weren't as tall back then.
Because he was a little tiny Elvis.
He was a little guy. I was like, was this Elvis highs? I was making height jokes for the longest time.
I'm gonna eat peanut butter
when he goes there.
I'm gonna eat peanut
as a tall person, I'm punching down on height. Yeah. Anyway, but Ed Harris plays the Sergeant Major, and his daughter is the person Joaquin Phoenix likes.
Oh, okay.
And he hates Joaquin Phoenix. And so then it turns like violent. Like they try to murder each other. He's like, well, the only way through this is to sleep with his daughter for certain. Like that is the exact take.
That's his flag.
It goes horribly wrong. But yeah, good movie. It's one of those underrated. I think she did that before she did Hurly Burly. Yeah, I think so.
Once again, I don't know what you're talking about.
Hurly Burly is LA, bro. If you've never seen that, you want to see LA people.
So I don't need to see it then. I live here.
You know how like LA folk sit around having conversations about shit they think they're sounding really smart about, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about? That's the whole movie.
Okay.
That movie goes like that too, isn't it? Too.
That's the whole movie. It's just these extended conversations about bullshit where they're all trying to impress each other with their fucking knowledge and they don't know anything. Yeah.
So it's like My Dinner with Andre with idiots, kind of.
Yeah. An Oscar, I think.
What if God was spelled DOG?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Fucking Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah. George Wong, Revenge of the Nerds 2 is my favorite though. So.
Yeah.
I know it's disgusting, but I love it.
Yeah, I always hated that in Revenge of the Nerds that what's his name like had a broken arm, so he's not really in it.
Oh, like Gilbert.
Yeah, because I'm like, how do you make this movie without Gilbert?
Well, no, I think
after Top Gun, why would you come back?
Well, his replacement was the wacky guy at the hotel, wasn't it? Basically.
Yes. Yeah.
No, well, it's Robert Carradine or Robert, whatever his fucking name is. The fucking that guy.
Skolnick?
Skolnick. Yeah, he took the fucking.
So I guess
we've had anti-Semites, hot takes on Star Wars, and just
Weekend at Bernie's.
That's our first look at Plagueis from the top there.
Ooh. Is he like a really tall Jawa?
Looks like it, huh? He's supposed to be a mun or immune. I don't know if you say immune or if you say mun. I think it has 2 U's in it. So.
Mund. Ronnie Mund. Are they just not committing to any design now? Is that it? Are they afraid to say to do anything?
Yes.
Like they can just design something. Like
but if they're gonna put him in a show or a movie or something like that down the road, then it's gonna go through a redesign. So
they rolled the dice. They rolled the dice with Moloch, and he stayed on the shelves and never left.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, he's no Durge.
No, he's no Durge at all. So yeah, I read some of those War of the Bounty Hunters comics. I got a couple more under my belts. And everything
like
is
kills.
Yeah, it is. I mean, everything is just moving towards getting to the meeting, to the Crimson Dawn meeting, and Chewbacca robot face from the Marvel comics. Like you kind of get a resolution to them. Chewbacca's just like, stay out of my way or I'll fucking kill you. And so like the whole issue, that's all that really happened, right? When you say like it just
which issue? We got to be very specific.
I think it was either issue 6 or 7 in the series in the line. It's the one where they realize that they're going to have to that they're going to need Lando. Lando's going to have to come on board to save Han Solo.
So positives about this issue, it looks like Star Wars, right? Like it looks like a Star Wars comic. The downside to this issue is they torture a robot and he dies in space, right? Like they spit this robot out and then he goes, "Oh, we could use him." Oh well,
too late.
You know, odd story.
Everybody sorry about all this.
Yeah, Dengar.
Can help you, please.
Yeah, Dengar just kind of gets his ass kicked, and it's like I shouldn't have shocked Chewbacca. And you're like, okay, you know, and then as the story goes on, we get Luke and Leia. Leia's determined to go and save Han, and you have that moment that you brought up at the very end. He's our only hope. You're right. They do like to end the last thing you hear with some reference to the other movie that you saw.
Also, am I missing something here? Like, are they saying that the scene in Empire Strikes Back where Luke gets his hand rebuilt and Lando and Chewbacca are on the ship and we're gonna go get Han, has that not happened yet? Like, all this exists in between Bespin and that scene?
I don't think so,
because that literally is the whole point. He's in the Falcon with Chewie going to go get Han.
And Han's clothes on.
Yeah.
And here they just find Lando to go get him to help get Han. So I'm trying to find out, like, how does this all work? Canon's getting tricky.
You could be right, but they have already done a ton of comics exploring the like when this whole era started, and I think that it didn't quite go to plan. So I think that we have some missing context to it. I think
sometimes.
So I believe all of this stuff exists because Luke doesn't have a robotic hand yet. She not even have a hand. I'm very confused.
Wait, is Luke missing a hand and I'm not noticing that?
No, he has both hands. That's why I'm like, did we not watch? That's why I'm wondering, like, am I as a guy who has not, unfortunately, I've just never read all the fucking Marvel comics.
Yeah.
Well, neither have I.
But I have seen The Empire Strikes Back. You know, I guess I'm a
fan. Is that one worth? I haven't seen it. Is that one worth catching?
It's kind of contribute. You know, well, you know what? Lucas didn't direct
it's
it.
Really slow.
Fake Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, the guy who did RoboCop 2 did it.
They changed the Imperial theme. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is they decide they need Lando in this issue to help get Han. But
they're already supposed to be in the
Empire.
I think I might know what the issue is. Is that Luke Skywalker doesn't wear the glove on the robot hand until Boba Fett shoots it on the sail barge.
That's not Empire Strikes Back, though. Like,
no, but if like Allison says, his hand looks flesh right now, but his hand would look flesh because he has a synthetic looking robot hand.
But in the scene at Empire, he just gets the robot hand. He just gets it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they go. She's talking to Lando, right? And we got a Roger on Han. We're gonna go get him. They're in there. They look at the stars. End of fucking story, right?
Yeah.
In this one, they decide to get Lando to help get Han in the carbonite. So where does that scene fit in?
No, because I think that all of that already happened. All of that.
Stop looking for Han. I don't start hanging out with Lobot with the weird dreads.
Okay.
Did we ever get a time frame on how long he was one of Jabba's guards?
No. See that already the moment at the end of Empire that already happened.
Okay.
And everything has so far has not entirely worked out. Lando is insistent on helping them make all of this go down. I don't think that moment from Empire happens after this comic series. I think that's already happened and they have failed because they can't just go there because he didn't show up. He never ended up at Jabba's place.
All right. Okay.
It makes
canon,
sense.
Huh? Sure.
No.
Okay.
I think I know. I mean, it does make sense if you, but I mean, once you decide that you're going to tell stories within that year, because remember, a year goes by. Lando's like, we're going to go get Han. Fuck yeah, guys, Millennium Falcon. I got Han's clothes on. We're going to go do it. And then they don't get him for a year. It takes a year.
I just feel like this should be called Shadows of the Empire redo. And I'm waiting for it to get better, because right now it's about the same. Like, not saying in terms of the story, you know, like it's like, all right, I'm waiting for the war. I just can't believe it's called War of the Bounty Hunters. Cool name. And they're fighting over a frozen popsicle Han Solo. Like, this is why they're fighting.
Well, we haven't got to the Crimson Dawn moment yet, where she,
only 9 more issues to get there.
Yeah, no, I think we're kind of getting close. Like I said, I read some of it out of order, and it is really about getting to the moment where she is auctioning off Han Solo, and then that's where all the hell breaks loose. You know, but
yeah, started with that.
So he comes in like Hudson Hawk and takes Boba or takes Han back.
No, I
think that you just name dropped Hudson Hawk. I like you. I like you. I'm a big fan.
Richard E. Grant and what's her name? Sandra Bernhard.
Oh yeah. Cassandra Bernhard. Yeah, my kind of woman. My kind of crazy. Just letting you know.
She definitely is crazy. Bunny, ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm with Alice in that there's like a year that Han was stolen from Boba, and that
makes more sense than there's a year,
and there's like a whole year. So when you have like the end of Empire, really when you get down to it, was retconned back in 81 when you from that moment, because when we watch just the original trilogy, you do feel like they go right from there to there, but nope. And I believe originally they even had it where there was like longer than, it was like around 3 years between all of the movies. And then I think it was sort of retconned later on that it was only a year after they realized that's kind of a long time. But I could be wrong, because there was so much ambiguity at play that it always made it a little bit like, what's the timeline in Star Wars and how does this work? And Andrew says, damn, dropping the Hudson Hawk.
Hudson
just
Hawk,
like a
guys.
Butterfinger.
Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk. The Bruce
we got a
of the
scoop
Hutts.
here. Bruce Willis is playing a Hutt in the Boba Fett series.
And he's got to have the hat.
He's got to have the hat. Yeah.
So you want to talk about the next issue, the Darth Vader one?
Yeah, and then the Darth Vader one is essentially
Sound of Metal, Darth Vader issue 13. I brought it up, so I want to make sure we're getting the right.
I mean, as a no consequence, nothing matters, I just want entertainment drawing stuff goes, IG-88 versus Darth Vader is kind of fun on the surface, you know, for what it is.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
I guess it's funny because they're fighting. And then eventually Vader does this thing where he uses the Force to pull a little, what do I say? IG-88 has a beeper that allows him to control Darth Vader's armor, right? So Darth Vader can't fight him. Yeah. But he uses the Force to pull the beeper out of his hand and turn it off. He could have just used the Force to crush IG-88 into a fucking tin can, because we've seen at the end of Revenge of the Sith, he's pretty good at crushing everything.
A lot of things.
Well, that's the whole problem with turning your characters into little tiny gods, is why don't
wills to live.
Yeah, like why didn't he just choke Luke out from a distance? Why didn't Palpatine just choke Luke out from a distance with the Force?
Yeah.
When we see Darth Vader doing it to people on phone calls.
Because
all you have to do is
Escobar, man. He can't do that. He's
just call,
see your face.
Luke picks it up.
Which was my wise ass complaint in 1985. That 3 took me a couple of years to stumble on, but I remember thinking, why didn't he just choke the Emperor?
Yeah, why did the Emperor just choke him?
Right. Why doesn't everyone just get into a choke war?
Is that why?
Let's write the series Choke War. And it's 24 issues long, and it's all these Sith choking each other across the galaxy, and then with
Padme
red
is the only
boxes where we
person who's
do
been a
dialogue.
Jedi, so she must be into choking. Therefore, she must be into choking. I'm just throwing it out there.
You and Trey making a lot of weird. No,
I'm gonna put Ray on this rack here. And see
I
what
mean,
happens.
Trey said that, not me.
just not putting the chat up.
Yeah, where's the chat?
So this thing where Vader talks in black boxes with red. Sorry, there's black panels with red boxes in Vader's inner dialogue. Mm-hmm. That occurred in the last Vader episode I didn't care for. So I guess this is like the thing they do in the Vader comic now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
There was 6 to 8 years between Star Wars and Empire, and like 1 to 3 years between Empire and Jedi.
I don't know about 8 years.
No, I think there was. There's Star Wars. There's A New Hope, and then there's 3 years to Empire, and then at one point originally there was 3 years until Jedi, and then that was changed to only 1 year. So like the whole thing was like six to 8 years in total, at most. But 6 years is kind of. But she says originally, yeah, I was. And I don't know if that was something that like changed in like one of the canons of the books, like of the but I'm pretty sure G canon was 3 years and then 1 year. But we should look it up. We should definitely dig into that stuff because it is good to refresh every so often and have what was what and when. So yeah. Andrew says he wishes he had the disc too. Andrew Paul says, because everything else doesn't work, cancels out. Wait, I'm losing you here. Andrew Paul. Okay.
I think he's talking about the time frame thing.
It was solidified after Phantom Menace. Okay. Yeah, he says, okay, here it is. So only lightsabers can work against another force wielder. Yeah, that I remember them putting that stuff into the books and it being all super confusing because you had like Han Solo cutting open tauntauns and shit. But I always thought that was stupid because it's like I could pick up a lightsaber and and as Finn shows us when he wasn't a Jedi, anybody can use a weapon as a weapon. Like that never made sense to me.
Mr. Bean in the Star Wars galaxy running around trying to hold on to a lightsaber. That would be hilarious.
You laugh, and then Johnny English fucking 3000 comes out, and that's the whole fucking gimmick, right? I mean, they put one in Free Guy. Why not?
Oh, I couldn't even make it through half of that movie.
So I had the whole timeline from before the prequels, and it originally episode 3 was before the Jedi Purge. That was official Lucasfilm stuff. Oh yeah, that stuff was completely. I think I could be wrong, but I think you're referencing the Bantam style guide from way back in the day, which was always George Lucas was like, I don't give a fuck, and probably just signed it one day and then was like, why are you doing this? Like that story you told me about Willow with was it Chris? Is it Chris? What's the guy's name who from the X-Men comics?
Chris Claremont.
Yeah, Chris Claremont. He's like George Lucas gets the book back for the Willow sequel, and it's like, why isn't Mad-Mardigan in this? And it's like, because you said I couldn't put him in it.
Right.
George Lucas is like, what? Why are you listening to me?
Yeah. Don't.
I did like how Vision's episode where a lightsaber works with your force abilities. Yeah, like that kind of thing was definitely fun. I think what they brought into with that kind of concept though is that if you have a character who you want to like develop later, or they're not sure what, like Finn, like what they're going to be or whatever, you end up like running into these like problems where why didn't X happen or Y happen? You know what I mean? When it comes to those like
or
concepts.
They turned it into like something like these type of characters or like the species of people from this planet, they grew with the Force organically and they use it kind of in an organic way, unlike anybody else in the galaxy. And so their lightsabers work with their Force abilities that way.
I just always figured, man, if you're gonna do kyber crystal, that the crystal should be tied to the Jedi. It should speak to you. Like there should be the wills, whatever the wills of the Force are in the crystals. Mm-hmm. The crystals are tied to that Jedi, so only the saber works with the Jedi. and maybe Luke can use his father saber because there's a lineage there. You know what I mean? Like there's something to it. But again, all that goes out the door in the first 10 minutes of Empire Strikes Back when Han Solo goes, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a special edition where we just replace where he just shoots the fucking Tauntaun 6 times. Like, you know, the Batmobile, right, in 89 where he just just cuts
I'll
open
make my own door, thank you.
Or he takes a thermal grenade and just plumps it and just blows up blows a hole in it and shoves Luke in.
Yeah. Allison says that she has the design notes that West End Games used to build the RPG on. It was a huge timeline of events.
Yeah, I had all that. I still have a lot of my West Game stuff, but the West End Game stuff doesn't count. Like none of it. You know,
when West End went under, I got it during their fire sale. Oh, if you still have it, by all means, like come on and read it to us. That sounds interesting. Just for like what they were working with back then, you know. Because the West End Games stuff when that began, that was like that must have been like 86-ish, I want to say, because I was buying the West End Game stuff at Disneyland for Star Tours in around 87. And I remember that was some of the first stuff that was for sale in the Star Tours store. I used to buy those little pewter figures of like the Cantina. I remember I had the Bespin source guide later on and like the main RPG book.
Yeah. I got the Death Star Technical Journal.
I remember that one.
The red one at that Star Tours shop. That's
Yeah, was that shit just dry as hell?
It had concept art and marker. So I was, as an artist, I'm like, perfect. Now I can see how I could work out perspective and learn how to draw ships. I did not care what was really in the technical schematics.
Yeah.
Had no interest. I just really liked the concept art. And I was like, $12 concept art. I mean, you couldn't get concept art marker renderings at that
technical
time.
Manuals was a guy I was in band with. He had the Star Trek technical manual for Next Generation. He carried it around all day, every day, because apparently the club he was in, they gave you some kind of test or something like that.
Yeah.
Using the technical manual.
The Council of Nerds have convened to test your strength of Star Trek technical knowledge.
I had no idea what he was talking about because I had just moved down to that city. And
that's why I never got to play it. I was wanting to play the Star Wars role-playing game, and every time I met those guys, I was too cool for those guys, but not cool enough for anybody else. it was just like 5 minutes, and I'd be like, "Shut up, nerds!" That's not Star Wars. What are you talking about? And yeah, because I do remember there being this like moment like where everything changed when all of the dudes who were reading Star Trek books like religiously started reading Star Wars books too, because they were coming out and they were like a little bit more fun maybe, or just because they just read everything and it was on there. And I was just like, I cannot take this. I can't stand it. It was hard. But I wish I had met cool friends that I could have played it with. You know what I mean? Oh wow, I remember. I never played it. Obviously, I never played anything. But I even had the West End's Ghostbusters game. I remember seeing stuff about. I also had I did have a game I did play, and it was like Battle for Endor. It might have been called Battle for Endor, but it might not have been. But it was like it was made by West End Games. And it was like a board, and you had like little ATSTs that you put on stands, and you had like Ewoks and stuff. And I think it might have had some dice, and it was like a whole board game. Wow. And you could you could set up like traps. And so like if you were the Ewoks, you'd set up your traps, and I guess you'd have to like kind of advance. I don't remember the game that well now, but it was fun. I had a good time with that. And I also had a Willow board game, which is I wonder if that's easy to get now. It's actually my neighbor got it for Christmas. And was like, why the fuck am I getting Willow board games for Christmas?
Not in this supply chain.
And he gave it to me.
Not in this
I never even heard of the West End Games when I was that age.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like it was kind of weird too, because like no one told me what a role-playing game was. The only thing I had was that scene in E.T. and I kind of had a sense of what it was, but it was like, is that really what this is? And then
That's how
like,
you conjure demons.
yeah, yeah. And then you end up with the satanic panic, and then kids' moms are just throwing their D&D stuff out into the trash. And what's funny is I do remember there being a kid on the street and was really, really into that stuff. And his mom threw all of his stuff away and he started going outside, and then he got into freebasing.
The guy that hindered, and then there's another guy in beyond it. He would, we had the whole MIDI system, you know, the back in the day MIDI system with the Elisa's drum machine and the keyboard and the whole setup, right?
Yeah.
And so we would take the, he's oh, I heard about this thing from Led Zeppelin. You got to play it backwards. So
right.
Tape it there, and we'd use the MIDI machine.
The gate.
Play it, negating the book. Right. It was what it was, something like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it sounds like that, but then he was the guy who got me into computer games in school. He had got Doom, and so he introduced me to Doom.
And he touched you inappropriately. Now he loves
all over the place. And
well, if you spell Doom backwards, it's mood. Just saying. Are you in the mood?
That's the Kenny G version of the game, right?
Yeah.
You attack him with sweet melodies.
Well, that's
hair, that Kenny G hair.
God, what's his name? This guy did like a 3-hour review on Doom like last year, and it's genius. It is
3 hours.
It's 3 hours, and this guy, he's got the personality, but also he's neurotic at the same time, and it's so fucking good. But the comedy of it is Brandy sends it to me, and I start watching it, and as a teenager, I knew dudes who played Doom, and they all sucked. They were super annoying, and they were the kind of guys who read Star Trek books and started reading Tales from the Cantina and misunderstood Star Wars and drove me crazy, had rollerblades and wore Doc Martens with white laces and shit like that. And anyways, yeah, they wanted me to play Doom, and I was like, oh, fuck that shit. And so I never played Doom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was like the guys who were telling me to play it sucked. Well, my son, I'm watching that 3-hour review of Doom that is hilarious, and my son is like, oh, Doom looks badass. And so now here I am in 2021 downloading Doom WADs for my son, who's then loading them into his Oculus Quest and playing them in VR. He's taking Doom to the next level. So checkmate dudes from 1995 who sucked. You win. But yeah,
it's a big man to admit that.
They played the long game and they won. My offspring is a doomer. And,
doomer.
I'm here to. One's
a doomer, one's a mooder. One plays Kenny G. One does. I always wanted a celebrity death match between Kenny G and Weird Al because of the hair.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah. The one time I got to play an RPG when I had the Star Wars one, and my dad was dating this woman who sucked as well, but her son was kind of cool, but he was like 18, probably 17, 18. And I was like, yeah, I want to play it. And he was like, well, we play the James Bond one. And so you could play the James Bond one with us. And but what happens is we sit down to play, and I'm like, he helps me like do all the rolling and everything to like make the character. So I got my spy all set up and everything like that. We're about 30 minutes into it, and there's a girl, and a woman, and you know that she's evil. And he's like, you could sleep with her, or you could kill her because you know what she is. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sleep with her, then I'll kill her.
Right on, Richard.
I'm a little psychopath. I'll sleep with her, then I'll kill her. So go to sleep with her. They get a call. Somebody's got a keg. Well, they look at me, and you know what they tell me? You got AIDS and you died. Game over. They get up and they all leave. And that was my role-playing game. That was the one time I played a role-playing game.
You were Marcus Brody?
Yes.
Oh no.
I was Freddie Mercury, and I got AIDS and I died. The end. Show must go on. So yeah. Yeah, and then the Magic the Gathering guys came along. I remember those guys.
That's what I first got introduced to, was Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Andrew Paul says I was the same way with Magic the Gathering. All the people who wanted me to play were, well, assholes. Yeah. Yeah, it was like I was like into like I was buying Bikini Kill 7 inches, having to have them mailed to me from out of state and shit in catalogs, and they were like, "Hey, you ever heard of Garbage? Only happy when it rains?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay for pop music, okay, but it's not the same thing." And yeah, that's just where I found myself. And for the record, I don't hate Garbage. I think it's fun, but you know what I mean?
love their song Medication.
Yeah, I mean it's it's like it's good.
There was a time when you just bought anything at the PX to spend some money because there was nothing to get. So if Garbage came in, you bought it. If Tool came in, you bought it. If Fear of Pop, featuring the hit single with William Shatner, comes in, you buy it and you play it on fucking repeat and drive everyone crazy.
Mr. Tambourine Man. My uncle's story is I went over to my uncle's house and he hadn't seen me in a while, so he was super happy to see me, and he was just like, "Oh, anything you want," kind of mood, because he was so happy. And I am 4 years old, and I can barely read. And I pick up Mad Magazine, and it's the Return of the Jedi issue. And I open it up, and Leia says something, and I can't really read it, so I ask my mom, and she says something to the effect of, "I always dress this inappropriately in all kids movie productions," or something like that. And I was like, "Can I have it?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then after that, I was buying Mad and Cracked every time I go to the grocery store.
For a second there, Jason, when you started talking, because you had just pulled up Allison's thing, I thought you were just reading her. I'm like, this is the longest fucking tweet ever, dude.
Ever.
Yeah.
A super chat. Damn.
She's all,
I was like, no, he's telling a story.
And then at the end, it turns out Wes Endgames was a Squid Game the whole time.
What?
Yeah. We all lost an uncle that day. Andrew says, "Holy score, Allison." McClone. Sorry if you want to say it correctly.
McClone.
Yeah. But and I have not heard about the other story today. So let's really quickly should we talk about what this weird Indiana Jones thing could be about?
Sure.
The old, this is one where we'll kind of almost like we were just doing like a real
Before I
pop.
forget, they ended that Vader comic with the Star Wars quote.
Oh yeah, What was it?
Goddamn. I'm more powerful. We are more. There's a Sith. There's an Illuma Sithy that shows up, right? These like Exegol looking dudes, and at the end they end it. We are more powerful than you could ever imagine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. In the beginning, when Vader does kind of quote Obi-Wan, though, when he kind of like inverts Obi-Wan's quote, I was okay with that because I felt like he was talking to him about it, and it was kind of like that one was okay. But yeah, we are on the same page with that shit. I have
Look,
to
if you're gonna end it with the quote, go with some fucking shit we don't remember. Pull out some esoteric quotes like whatever Nia Nub says.
Just
the only socks I had.
As Nia Nub once said.
It's the laugh I love.
I'm gonna be at the cleaners.
Like I love it.
Yeah.
I want to replace that with Seth Rogen's laugh.
Yeah. Can't even do it. So how you say this name?
Antikythera.
And Antikythera is what.
God, you genius.
Yeah,
you watched a lot of Hudson Hawk.
Antikythera. So we were talking yesterday. We had there's some pictures that have leaked out of Indiana Jones, and we're seeing what looks like Roman soldiers and things like that.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna stop you right there. So here's my thing. What I get coming off of that. So they say that's the world's first computer.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, if there is time travel, is he going back and they needed to build some sort of wayfinder for themselves, and so they built it in the past, and that's why it's so old and no one can understand why anybody is using it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean,
Doc Brown built a microchip on the hood of the DeLorean in Back to the Future.
yeah,
Remember?
Yeah, complete with the two bulbs and everything.
But yeah, this was updated in June of 2021. But 15 intriguing facts about the Antikythera mechanism. And so right here, you can see it looking all fucked up and old. And right here, we see a cool guy doing some stuff. All right. So, God, these ads, get the fuck out of here. The mysterious Antikythera mechanism, an unusual artifact found in an ancient Greek shipwreck, has intrigued archaeologists, classicists, historians, and the public for decades. Here are 15 facts about the strange object, sometimes called the world's first computer. So, the mechanism was found in a Roman-era shipwreck and named after a Greek island located in the, is that said Aegean Sea? Aegean. I never knew how to say that one either. That's the bad thing about doing these shows is you're like, oh shit, I have to read words I've never said out loud.
I'll read
Between
it
mainland Greece and Crete, it literally means the opposite of Kythera. Oh, or does it mean the opposite?
Like Antifa. The opposite of freedom.
Oh, I thought they meant my real anti.
Yeah. Yeah. The fa is for freedom. Fosh is freedom, right? And then,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And pho is a good soup. The ship is assumed to be Roman, and when it sank just off the coast of the island in the middle of the 1st century BCE, it carried a large number of artifacts dating back to as early as the 4th century BCE.
Colonizers.
So, yeah, and we were talking before the show a bit about that video game, the Infernal Machine, that came out around 2000, I want to say.
Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine came out, and it was released on PC, if I remember, the year before.
2000.
But a year later, in 2000, they released it on Nintendo 64, and you can only get it if you bought it through LucasArts.com. And guess when that covers right up, Jesse. Guess who got a credit card just so that I could go online. My first online purchase was Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, which when I first heard this whole storyline reminded me of that game, in which you, if I remember right, you go back. It's set in like the 50s or something, and there's a machine that the Babylonians created that could be more powerful than a nuclear weapon, is what they said, and that you have to team up with a female, right? A female from the CIA to stop the Soviets from getting this machine and it ends up opening up a portal that there was this other god that came through a portal and stuff. So I think if I'm right, Jason, like they had based this whole idea off this basic idea that there was a computer in the past, right?
Yeah, we looked it up really quickly to make sure it wasn't actually this device, and they basically said we were going to have it be UFOs. George Lucas vetoed that because obviously, and where they were going, and then this was the inspiration for that game, because I was like, if it was based off of that game, then I felt like that right there would probably rule it out as something that they would use. But
Struzan did the cover art for the game.
Right.
So it was pretty, and there's the female character, I mean, looks an awful lot like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, bro.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Drew Struzan blocked me on Twitter.
What'd you do?
He was posting stuff. Some of his 80s posters for the movies he's done, and then someone posted One Crazy Summer, and apparently he didn't do that one, and so like I was doing a reply to somebody else about it, and he like jumped my shit because I was like, yeah, this was I think this was Drew Struzan. He's like, no, I didn't do that. Get your fucking stracks straight or something like that. And I was like,
and then he blocked you?
I gave him a reply of, well, I'm fucking sorry, Your Majesty. I was like, Jesus Christ, people are allowed to make mistakes. And he's just, nope, block. Like, yeah. All right.
I mean, he did better off that. It's a legitimate fucking mistake. You know what I mean? That the sequel would.
I mean, it's not like he's far off artistically with a lot of those, you know?
He's 60 something years old. All right. The internet is still, even though his generation created this shit, he never used it until like
Bye, Allison.
years ago.
Bye, Allison.
by Allison. But the cool part, so a little before we get back into the story for Indiana Jones, the cool part about the Nintendo 64, so the PC came out version, which LucasArts made, but the 64 version was ported by Factor 5, who did the Rogue Squadron and the Battle for Naboo games. So the 64 version features like 5.1 surround sound and real-time sprite pixels, which they had put in Battle for Naboo. So there's actually like real-time particle effects like rain and water sprouts and stuff like that. And so as far as like, I think it got shit on because it was like, oh, it's like Tomb Raider. I'm like, guys, this is like if you release an Indiana Jones game now, people saying it's like Uncharted, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Or when Uncharted came out, it's like Tomb Raider.
Never played Tomb Raider or Metal Gear Solid ever.
Yeah.
But the it's a pretty cool game. I gave it away to this kid, my landlord's kid. He was like a little Daniel son who had to come over and do all the fucking fixings. We had termites because of these wood apartment. He come in, he's like, yeah, I'm fixing it. I'm like, I felt bad, 12-year-olds doing my...
He's like, hey, my name is Gary LaRusso, and I'm here to fix your termites. Can you teach me karate or something? And you're like...
But I had all my Nintendo 64 games laid out in my living room. And he looks there, he goes...
Game. Go get fat.
It's like,
and he looks there and he goes...
assassinate people.
I know. He goes there and goes, is that Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine? And I was like, I looked at it. This is 2004, right? So I'm like, all right, kid. You know what I mean? You like? He's like, I've always wanted to play it. I'm like, you can have it. I can have it. Oh, like I never like. It was like, you know, as we come from low means, right? Like, you know, where every little toy fucking mattered. And it was the one time in my life I was able to like, and I gave him all my games. Like, you know, just take all that shit. Oh my god! Like, yeah. And don't tell anyone I touched you. Just get the fuck out of here. I don't want that fucking rumor.
Yeah. The actual like part here this part kind of cracked me up because it's all in 1900 Greek sponge divers found the shipwreck, which was submerged nearly 150 feet while wearing gear that was standard for the early 20th century, canvas suits with copper helmets. When the original diver surfaced with reports of artifacts, horses, and corpses, the captain assumed he had raptures of the deep, essentially a drunkenness as a result of the nitrogen in the breathing mix piped into the diving helmet. Although the diver was actually fine, later exploration in the summer of 1901 caused the death of one diver and paralyzed two more from decompression sickness or the bends. Like he comes up, he's like,
the Abyss dealt with the decompression sickness.
Oh yeah.
So did Radiohead. Right?
And so did License to Kill from James Bond.
Yeah, in the Abyss, don't they come up with like a magic drink or something?
Robert Davi's awesome, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Don't they come up with like an oxygenated drink or something like that? Am I wrong?
I don't remember. I just remember View to a Kill. Yeah. Sorry, View to a Kill. Because the song.
Right. Yeah, but the guy comes up and he's like, hey, there's like a time travel machine down there and mechanisms and horses and bodies, and the guy's like, yeah, matey, you're drunk. So 3 important Romans may have been involved in Antikythera mechanisms transport. An astrophysicist at Athens University, Xenophon Mousas, theorized in 2006 that the boat on which the mechanism was found may have been headed to Rome as part of a triumphal parade for the Emperor Julius Caesar in the 1st century BCE. As related, a related theory is that the ship was carrying booty from the Roman. You know they love writing that shit. Don't act like you don't.
You know they do too.
From the Roman general Sulla's sack of Athens in 87 to 86.
Sack in one sentence.
I think that was in 1987, right? Yeah, 1987 is what they're talking about. Like right after. Anyways, in the same time period, the famous Roman orator Marcus Tullius, Sierra, mentioned a mechanical planetarium called a sphere of Archimedes that demonstrated how the sun, moon, and planets moved with the Earth, with respect to the Earth. More recent research, though, suggests that the ship may have been en route to Rome from Turkey. The ship's path has been difficult to trace because the Aegean was an important and busy shipping area at the time. Yeah, and this right here, you could look at this is a replica of it. But I have wondered. Looks like C-3PO's chest, doesn't it? I kind of wondered if
Iron Man's chest, really.
Yeah, right. It's Iron Man's heart, you guys.
It's Mark 45 or Mark 55.
But
minus 0,000, really.
We have seen little golden things in Indy's hand, and I wonder if it's it. I don't know what to.
You think they fit that mechanism into the watch, and when he gets it,
is that the gold clock that we keep talking about?
It could have the parts, right? I mean, yeah. Are they trying to get parts? I mean, and it might not be this at all. I mean, this is just
hidden inside the clock.
Yeah, it could be. The unique bronze and wood object was found with a shipload of marble coins, glassware, and pottery in 1900. Since all the other artifacts were more apparently worthy of conservation, the mechanism was ignored until 1951. Can you imagine that? They find this weird ass mechanism that they don't know how to explain. They don't know what it is, and they ignore it for 50 years.
Are you saying they just put it in a crate and shoved it into a warehouse?
Essentially, that is what has happened here.
And had top men working on it?
That is ridiculous.
Top, man.
Exactly, top.
After an additional 2 decades of study, the first publication of the Antikythera mechanism was made in 1974 by physicist and historian Derek de Solla Price. But Price's work was unfinished when he died in 1983. You fucking quitter.
It was really because he saw Jedi and was like, fuck this shit.
He's all, I'm gonna live until the best one, episode 1 comes out. And then he died. But Price's work was unfinished when he died in 1983. So blah, blah, blah. So the mechanism is currently in 82 pieces, representing about a third of the original structure. In 2021, researchers from the University College London made scans of the fragments, analyzed by the symbols and inscriptions of the pieces, and compared this body of knowledge to what ancient Greeks would have known about astronomy and time to arrive at a model of how the gears of the machine were assembled. But the results published in the Journal of Scientific Reports were still highly theoretical. And then Jacques Cousteau was pretty obsessed with it, which I thought was pretty rad.
I like how they're basically like, we still don't think they could have made it, but they made it.
Yeah,
they made it.
Perhaps you just don't fucking know what they had. You know,
Yeah.
Like there's that 10,000-year-old hammer thing with it people have talked about, right?
It's like,
A
yeah,
rock?
we don't know how the Egyptians made the pyramids either, and it doesn't mean that they were idiots or
they clearly outsourced them.
Aliens
doing
did
that
it.
work themselves.
No.
Like, it's really
Since
the
long-
first case of globalism. You know?
Since long before the invention of the digital computer you are undoubtedly reading this on, there have been analog computers. These types of computers range from mechanical aids like a slide rule to a device that can predict the tides. The Antikythera mechanism, which was designed to calculate dates and predict astronomical phenomena, was therefore been called the earliest analog computer.
What about the oh crap, I can't even remember the name of it now. Never mind.
But yeah, and then the inventor of trigonometry may have also created one. And Hipparchus is primarily known as an ancient astronomer. He was born in what is now Turkey, and blah 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 blah. So anyways, the mechanism was so technologically advanced, nothing surpassed it for close to 1,500 years. And that's what I find super strange.
I like this line, the line that comes next.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just read the first 2 lines of the next one.
Oh, of number 9 or of the paragraph?
Yeah, number 8.
Number 8.
Yeah, where you're at.
Consisting of at least 30 bronze gears and a wooden container that was only the size of a shoebox, the clockwork mechanism was highly advanced for its time. By turning a hand crank, the user could move forward or backward in time. What? The crank made the gears move and rotate a series of dials and rings on which there are inscriptions and annotations of Greek zodiac signs and Egyptian calendar days. So, yeah, it does. Well, look at this picture. It was designed
back in time
to monitor celestial event seasons and festivals.
Come on. Wouldn't it be great if he did meet a young Doc Brown in the 50s?
Right?
Just
That
at
would
the
be
college.
awesome. That'd be
Come
awesome.
on. The one time you're going to do a little fan service.
We have this young guy. He's a crazy little young scientist.
You can't go through time with a hand crank. You need a 1.21 gigawatts. Oh, this fucking guy.
This guy in power. Yeah, no one is sure who used the mechanism.
Caputer or something like that. I don't know what it's called.
I mean, these guys, at the time they were coming up with some math concepts that were pretty fucking revolutionary. So
it was this, and they learned how to make blue pigment. It's all they had going on back then.
It also told fortunes.
That anchovy paste that they made.
Wait, Jones and colleagues? What? And Indiana Jones? New interpretation of the mechanism is based on the extent 3,400 Greek characters on the device, although thousands more characters are likely missing due to the incomplete nature of the artifact. Most notably, in their thorough linguistic analysis, these scholars discovered that the mechanism refers to eclipse's color, size, and associated winds. The Greeks believed that characteristics of an eclipse were related to good and bad omens. Because of this belief, by building in predictive eclipse technology, the creator of the mechanism was letting the user divine the future. Ooh. So, planetary motion. The mechanism was accurate to within 1 degree in 500 years. So it was pretty good for the time, especially. And there may be two shipwrecks. Since Cousteau explored in the mid-1970s, little work has been done at the underwater archaeological site because of the remote location and the depth of the water. In 2012, marine archaeologists from the Woods Hole or Oceanographic Institute and the Hellenic Effort of Underwater Antiquities again dove the wreck with the latest high-tech scuba gear. They found a massive spread of amphorae and other artifacts. This means that either the Roman ship was vastly larger than previously thought, or there is a separate wreck down there. Excavations have been going on for several years, with new artifacts brought up constantly. So for all we know, they just found a third or fourth one that's super badass and even better, and they're like, oh, we'll look at that in 50 years. We'll just put that into the Indiana Jones warehouse and we'll check it out later. But yeah. So,
I think the can crank turning forward and back in time is just what they'll go with it if they're going to use this sort of thing. Once complete, it could actually pinpoint a moment in time in which you could go back that's occurring by lunar cycles and fucking mumbo jumbo. Seems like the most. Now, why the Nazis would want to go back in time, I don't know. Doesn't. We need. I get you. Well, we can go get stuff. I don't know. You can't. They don't have more powerful weapons in the past. So.
I mean, if you were a Nazi and you could go from the future into the past and tell a people your ideology and that you are a powerful being from the future, then you would be setting up your ideology well in the past. I mean,
the only time they're going to believe that is now. They'd have to come to now, and half the internet would believe them. That's the world we live in.
So Indiana Jones, he turns the crank, and he ends up on 4chan. He's like, "Oh my god!"
Got ran off by some Jones guy.
Who's wait? This QAnon website. No,
you know what they're doing in pizza shops now.
He's Indiana's like, we got to find Hillary's emails. It's the only way. Yeah, that's 1969 for you guys. But I it does sound like a fun MacGuffin prop that you could use to somehow show time travel or things from the past. Maybe it will show do you travel there or do you just see like that's one of the things I keep wondering about. You know what I mean?
1969 is also the episode of Stargate SG-1 where they go back in time.
Is it?
Since 1969, and they have to.
That's a series with MacGyver.
Right? It's all connected.
It's one of my favorite shows ever.
Is Indiana Jones' son? Everybody knows.
He's a great Jack O'Neill.
I would have accepted MacGyver being Indiana Jones' son. It's MacGyver Jones.
Yeah. There was a kid in first grade who insisted for the whole year that his dad was MacGyver. And I was just like, shut up. And finally, finally my teacher takes me aside and she's like, hey, just so you know, his dad killed himself. And I was like, okay. Your dad's MacGyver, dude. Hey, saw MacGyver last night. Dad's looking good, bud. All right.
Before she told you, like, why don't you just kill yourself with all your lies? And she's like, Lord, what are you doing?
Oh,
so good with that paperclip.
Yeah.
I had a friend in high school who literally would tell everyone she was cousins with Jennifer Love Hewitt for no reason. It didn't make any sense. Before Jennifer Love Hewitt was really huge. Like, this is, just like, and people just bought, oh, she's your cousin? Yeah, she's gonna, come to my birthday party. Can we go? No, she doesn't like people.
Are you guys kissing cousins by any chance?
Yeah, chunk. Like when Michael Jackson came to use your bathroom.
No, but his sister did.
But his sister did. You got to sell it the way he sold it, man. Like,
yeah. Well, okay. So, and make sure I didn't ignore. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, I'm curious if there's anything to this. I did during this show get a text message about Indiana Jones that I am afraid to read on the air, so I'm not going to look at it until after the show. But I think we might have something for our next show. Is today Friday?
Yes, today is
Friday. So we won't have a show till Monday now.
Yeah.
But
tomorrow is DC Fandom.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Batman trailer.
We've been
waiting 1,200 years for this fucking trailer, right? Like, now in Star Wars related news, hold on. In Star Wars, you're gonna have to repeat that because I talked over you. But 1 second. In Star Wars related news, the director of cinematography for this film is Greg Fraser, who did Rogue One and that one episode of the Mando for certain, where he's like shooting the stormtroopers in the dark, like when he's on that, like in that with the flamethrowers and all that stuff, dude. Like that stuff was super dope.
Yeah.
So Greg Fraser is an amazing cinematographer. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out.
Yeah, no, I taught him everything he knows. What were you saying, Jesse?
Oh, don't worry about it. He kind of answered my question. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So so we'll be back on Monday unless something really rad happens. And I hope the Batman trailer is good. I hope it's a Batman movie I'm interested in.
The Joker is going to be like a Zodiac killer. Just
so it's supposed to be the Riddler, isn't it?
Sorry, the Riddler.
The Riddler. Okay, well, that's fine. I don't really think like riddle me this Batman is really relevant.
I'm interested in the guy who's playing the Riddler, this Paul Dano guy, because he's been kind of a super creepy actor in some movie. Like he was in that movie where he buried some chick under the car in the driveway. I think it was with.
Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
Hugh Jackman was in that movie. Yeah. It's like his daughter got kidnapped.
Okay.
He was in he was in There Will Be Blood and Little Miss Sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He was the dick brother in Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
Another slightly Star Wars-ish relation.
Yeah, him. Okay.
Yeah.
The guy who was colorblind so he couldn't fly an airplane.
Yes.
Turned out in the end. Yeah. And Little Miss Sunshine. All right. Oh wait, hold on. Andrew's dropping some knowledge. I don't want to ignore it. It's amazing that what you can invent when you're not on the internet 24/7. And Romans also had steam engine tech, Aliophile, and they didn't do anything with. And then the Roman Empire would have colonized the solar system had they understood the technology.
And then pesky Germans got involved.
Yeah.
So beginning to Gladiator.
And and look at the people who found their mechanism and left it in a college museum, probably or probably the back room of a college somewhere for 50 years. But yeah, I mean that thing is super fascinating. And I think that all that stuff, like, I'm not really like, I heard somebody one time who was like really critical of like ancient aliens. They're like, this is completely taking away, these people did this wonderful, amazing thing by building these pyramids. And then white people show up again and are like, no, aliens did it. It wasn't you guys.
Oh, that's the Antuka, the guy that runs all the stuff for Egypt. What's his face?
Was he the one who was
he's the one.
Zahi
I forget his
Hawass.
name. He's a bit of a
Is that
tough
it?
character.
Yeah, Zahi Hawass. That's what you're talking
Yeah, Zahi was. Yeah. So, but he was like, see, now the white people are trying to take away our accomplishments. And I'm just like, I get that theory, right? But let's also be honest that the pyramids were most likely at the very least outsourced. You know, like it's slave labor at the very, like, do you really want to own up to a lot of that? Like they kind of ignore.
No, but where I
We were the first to enslave the Jews. We were the first.
We were the first. Yeah, that's terrible.
No.
It's like no, but it's like there's like technology has existed and technology gets lost. And
I believe in the Apocalypse X-Men theory. Thank you.
I don't believe in the X-Men Apocalypse costume design. The costume design
that was terrible. That was fucking horrible, man.
Of all time. Like,
Andrew says it's a very Victorian mindset.
Like a blue penis coming out of a fucking condom that was broken.
Andrew says it's a very Victorian mindset to believe all ancient civilizations were savages. Yeah, that is what we call ethnocentrism, thinking that your culture is better than everyone else's. And that they were the Victorians.
We were Aztec, man. I'll cut your heart out.
Man, I had a professor who did a lot of writing on Victorian furniture, and boy, did they like to put dicks in furniture. That lamp, that lamp's a dick. Oh, that armrest, it's a dick. See the
Amazon didn't invent this.
No, not Amazon. The Victorians.
I know.
Is that why there's no more furniture in the Winchester Mystery House?
All dicks. Turns out, all not haunted.
All dicks.
Just dicks.
Well, that was my
favorite
when people were complaining about boob armor. Like, Wonder Woman, the Amazonians have boob armor.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. No one would ever do it. And then here's actual armor for the Praetorian Times. We get a giant metal dick sticking right out of his armor because it was fun to like.
The fat ass. Like last thing you see is fat dick coming at
you.
you.
Cut someone's head off, you wanted to have a raging boner.
Yeah. Oh,
Praetorian, bitch.
Yeah.
Guys, history was a whole lot more violent and and less tolerant than it is today. Despite what we think, it wasn't better then. Like in some ways, like the Native Americans most certainly had a much better situation in this continent than we did. However, then you get into crazy salt wars. Like everyone's got their fucking nightmare scenarios.
Humans are terrible. Is the point? Yeah. And
Ahmed Best's like, no, we're not. We're all good.
We're good.
Then he's poor guy is like he's such a positive dude. But you can't on one hand say I don't believe humans are bad, and then humans were so bad. I ended up in like the worst situation mentally you could be in, right? Like no, there's a lot of fucking bad people out there.
Yeah.
Just try not to hang out with them.
Yeah, it's true.
Try not to let them run your government.
It's true. But I will say that I think when those guys were coming up with impaling people right through the asshole, I think they were pretty woke about it. I think they were, you know what? We're going to impale everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Equity rules.
It doesn't. Yeah, you're all the same. We'll put it up your ass, all of you.
I love how Iron Maiden, the band, sued the comic Iron and the Maiden.
That
you know about
huh?
this?
No,
so there's a comic book that
Jason
Rubin.
Wait, I know what it was. Fat guys who like dragons. That was our idea, says Iron Maiden.
Yeah. So
comics were like, no, it was ours.
Jason. So this guy Jason Rubin, one of the co-creators of Naughty Dog, basically created his own comic. He always wanted to do his own comics. He has the money, so he does this comic called Iron the Maiden that he did with I want to say Francis Manapul, one of these fucking cool fucking dope artists, right? He's got Joe Mad covers, he's got Michael Turner covers, and the band Iron Maiden sued him and won. So he had to take the fucking book out, and then eventually he re-released it 10 years later under a different name. But they actually, how does a band Iron Maiden own
was it called,
fucking?
Was it called Comicalica?
Kiss is that way too, where anything gets close to that they kind of go after him as well. That's from what I understand.
Well, I know like there are certain instances where you have to, like Lucasfilm had to sue the company that created the lightsaber surgical device because they called it a lightsaber, and they sued them and gave them the money back.
But the lightsaber is not a historical object that existed for hundreds of years. It's an instrument of fucking torture that ruined the lives of countless thousands of people.
but I'm curious as to what the spin was legally that, because obviously they were trying to protect their copyright, and that's why they like did it. But yeah, but like, I mean, are they going to sue Bill and Ted? Because they were put in the Iron Maiden and it was excellent. But anyways, sorry, I just really love that movie. I just really love that movie.
I got a Man of Paul cover right here on my wall.
Did you ever see the stage show for Bill and Ted's? It was a comedy act, like in LA before it was
I mean, I saw some of the archival footage of them when they were in the troupe or whatever.
Yeah, I saw some of like the VHS whatever, because they recorded it. And the historical figures in that one were all the ones you can't put in a movie.
Yeah.
It was like Hitler. Yeah.
I thought Bill and Ted 3 was actually like really good for its aims and its attempts, and when it was being made and coming out and stuff like that. I was like, it was fun. But
it's a good small little movie in the way that the first two movies are good small little films. Yeah.
Totally.
100%.
But I would have appreciated it if they had gone balls out and that they were having to hang out with horrible historical figures, because the comedy opportunities and the conversations would be so fucking funny. Like, that's maybe my
John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, like, what's that
talking about acting the whole time?
And they could
what a missed opportunity, right? Did he shoot or stab Lincoln in the back? I can't never remember.
I believe he shot him.
He shot him. What a missed opportunity for old Marty McFly to go, hey, check this out, Mr. Wilkes. Boo, 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 boo. And then the effects of gun violence, right? Like, Marty, what are you doing? You're a dead shot, Booth.
So Andrew Paul says art has to be changed 60% to be appropriated without legal action.
Yeah,
but
that doesn't actually
the judge. Yeah, and I feel like they used to say it was if an image was changed 30%, you were able to like use it. And I don't even think that really holds water.
Here's the real fucking, forget your legal fucking mumbo jumbo and all your tricks. Here's the deal.
Yeah,
you got more money than the other guy. You got more money than the other guy.
Andrew. Fuck you, Andrew.
And it's never going to a fucking jury. You guarantee you're gonna fucking lose. Like,
arbitration,
that's it.
Baby. Arbitration.
So Iron Maiden, they won because fucking poor Jason Rubin was like, I can't sustain a fucking legal battle over a comic book for 20 fucking years, you know? And that's it, you know. Yeah. Cave in, change it.
So sorry, Andrew, just that you just really got on my nerves just now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, take your Saul Goodman Meg takes. Get out of here.
Yeah, you know what? Take it to law school, buddy. Right? This is a podcast.
I saw a TikTok video this one of my friends shared the other night of like a Santa. I thought, was it Star Wars Santa? It's a Santa constructing this like he's actually making this like ornate lightsaber, and he turns it on. It's a candy cane saber. And I was like, is that actual Star Wars Santa, or there's like is there the War of the Star Wars Santas? Can we?
Civil War.
Listen, I'll tell you this.
One's armed.
There's only one real Star Wars Santa. All the other ones are fake ones that you just see in malls and stuff.
Dude, this dude had a candy cane saber, man. It's fucking amazing.
Bum, bum, bum. As Andrew walks off with the Hulk piano music playing.
The Lonely Man.
I had a really weird realization the other day, was that my son saw the 2004, I think it was, Incredible Hulk. The one
2003.
The 2003 one. I got it.
I know. I went on a date.
Okay, yeah. I had it on Voodoo or something.
I don't have a lot of dates.
So I remember every minute. So my son turned that on when he was about 2 years old on Voodoo, and he started watching it, and he was having a dopamine party like you have never seen before.
Because of the editing,
and the Hulk is just smashing shit. And he was just like, I was like, okay, this dude loves the Hulk. So like, I went to a con that weekend doing Star Wars stuff or whatever, and I saw a giant one, so I brought it home for him. He was all obsessed with it, and this was like as he was like noticing films and finally starting to like take stuff in. And then a couple of days later, he sees Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader was like, "Oh no, Darth Vader is the Hulk. If he was even fucking cooler, could talk with laser swords." And then the Hulk died quickly. And I remembered as a kid, the 1970 show was on normal everyday TV at that point. It was like probably off the air by then. Maybe it was off the air. And I used to watch it. I loved it until I saw Star Wars, and I was like, "Whoa, it's kind of weird. Nothing has changed."
I love the editing style of film. I don't like it when they try to take comic books and go, "Look, it's a comic book on screen because we made panels and sound effects," like the '60s show.
Yeah.
But there was something they did with that Le Mans sort of style of visual editing where in the beginning you see his father just like cutting up starfish and like doing the science to try and get this thing going, and you see all the different like it didn't work, but this kind of worked in this little piece, and he took this piece and then grew that, and it became that is a thing that is done with no verbiage, right, at all. It's all visual, and I'm like, that is fucking genius. Like that is quite amazing. No film. Imagine if they took that kind of effect with, unfortunately Batman training to be Batman. Like you just saw the science plus the martial arts plus the fucking doing the thing and doing the lab, and like that would be, it's quite amazing.
Yeah.
That and Hulk looks like a giant Cabbage Patch Kid. Like he has this Cabbage Patch face.
The CSI shows should not have better detective equipment than Batman.
No, this was actually my only complaint about the Daredevil series, which I fucking love. My only complaint about the Daredevil series is when they get into a courtroom, they never once hired people who ever wrote a courtroom drama because it is laughably stupid.
Like bad.
Any lawyer who goes, "Oh, a few good men wouldn't happen," go watch the fucking Daredevil thing. It actually, in the director's cut of the Daredevil movie, the courtroom stuff is better than the Daredevil series. Like the only thing it did better on, like I'm not saying that's better. I love the Daredevil series, but that courtroom shit is laughably bad. Yeah, would have been great to get Shatner as the judge though.
Listen, I might just be a blind guy. What do I know? But
I'm a simple caveman lawyer.
But you must quit. Good comic tip, says Andrew. If the sequence works without any dialogue, a la Lone Wolf and Cub, it will work great with dialogue. So
don't tell that to a writer.
Don't tell that to a bad writer. But yeah, all right, guys, we are going to end the show because I got some work to do. It turns out, good work. But and I will see you guys, everybody, on Monday, unless anything big happens with
the Batman show.
And and on Monday, hopefully, we're like, hey, the strike didn't happen, but I think it's going to.
God, I hope so. Oh, quickly. So the premiere for Eternals, right? The world premiere for the movie The Eternals is on Monday. And there are going to be people from that union and producers there.
Yeah.
So what a lovely, uncomfortable situation to be in the middle of, right?
Well, hopefully the actual people who are putting it on, like hopefully the Jon Favreaus are, for instance, are all about it. You know what I mean? Right. And are like, yeah, this is messed up.
What if there's a fight?
That'd be cool too. Like a fucking trident comes out, stuff like that. Like an anchor man. That'd be cool.
I like it when the guy gets hit with the flaming fucking s'mores in Temple of Doom.
Bye, everyone.
All right, later.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about spaceships.